4 a.m. No alarm, no phone, just you, awake, in a world that's still asleep. Most people will spend the next 2 hours scrolling, snoozing, dreading the day ahead of them. You're not most people. Not anymore. Because what you do in the next 60 minutes after you open your eyes will decide who wins today, you or your mind. There is no third option. The old Stoics knew this. They didn't wait for motivation to show up. They built a system so tight that motivation became irrelevant. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire and still woke before the sun to write to himself, to argue with his own weakness before the world got the chance to. Not because he was born disciplined, because he trained for it, morning after morning, like a soldier drilling before the battle even starts. Today, you're getting his blueprint. 10 habits. Real ones. Not the fluffy drink water and smile advice you've heard 100 times. These are the mental weapons that turned an ordinary man into one of the most disciplined leaders in human history. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why the way you wake up is quietly deciding the way you live. Stay with me, because habit number 7 is the one almost nobody talks about, and it's the one that changes everything. Habit 1. Wake before the world asks you to. There's a reason every Stoic writer obsessed over the early hours. It's not about the hour itself. It's about ownership. The moment your alarm goes off and you hit snooze, you've just lost the first battle of the day. You told your own mind that comfort wins. That message follows you into every decision after it. Waking early, even by 20 minutes, isn't about productivity hacks. It's a declaration. It says, I decide when my day starts, not my exhaustion, not my excuses. Try it tomorrow. Set your alarm 15 minutes earlier than usual and get up the second it rings. No negotiating with yourself. That single act of obedience to your own decision is the first brick in mental discipline. Everything else is built on top of it. Habit 2. Sit with the worst before it happens, before you touch your phone, before the noise of the world floods in. Ask yourself one brutal question. What is the worst that could happen today? Seneca called this practice premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, and it sounds bleak until you actually try it. Picture the argument that might blow up, the deadline that might slip, the rejection that might land in your inbox. Sit with it for 60 seconds. Feel it. Don't run from it. Because here's what happens when you do this every morning. Nothing on your actual to-do list scares you anymore. You've already survived it in your head. The Stoics weren't pessimists. They were preparing soldiers who refused to be ambushed by their own fear. Habit 3. Right before you speak. Marcus Aurelius never planned to publish meditations. It was his private war room, a place where he told himself the truth before the world could tell him lies. Every morning, pick up a pen, not your phone, and write 3 lines. What's bothering you? What you're avoiding? What kind of man or woman you want to be by sunset? This isn't journaling for the aesthetic. This is combat prep. You're identifying the enemy inside your own head before it gets a chance to run the show. People who skip this step spend their whole day reacting. People who do this spend their day deciding. Habit 4. Decide what you actually control. Here's where most mornings go wrong. You wake up and your mind immediately grabs onto things you cannot touch. The traffic, the weather, what your boss thinks of you, what a stranger said online last night. Epictetus built his entire philosophy on one dividing line. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Before you leave your bed, name 3 things today that are actually yours to control. Your effort, your attitude, your response when things go sideways. That's it. Everything else is noise pretending to be your problem. The people who master their mornings aren't the ones with perfect circumstances. They're the ones who stopped fighting circumstances that were never theirs to fight. 4 habits down, 6 to go. And I promise you, the next ones get sharper, more uncomfortable, and far more powerful than anything you've heard before. You made it past the first 4. That already puts you ahead of 90% of people who watch videos like this and change nothing. But the next 3 habits are where the real transformation starts. This is where discipline stops being an idea and starts becoming a body. Habit 5. Move before you're ready. There's a trap almost everyone falls into. Waiting to feel motivated before doing anything physical. The Stoics never waited for that feeling because they knew it doesn't come first. It comes after. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself about this exact struggle. Some mornings he didn't want to get up and do his duty. He told himself plainly that he wasn't put on this earth to lie under warm blankets. So he moved, not because he felt like it, because feeling like it was never the point. You don't need an hour at the gym. You need 5 minutes of your body doing something hard before your mind gets a say in it. Push-ups on the floor, a short walk in the cold, stretching until it's uncomfortable. The goal isn't fitness. The goal is proving to yourself, physically, that you can act before you feel ready. That proof carries into every decision you make for the rest of the day. Habit 6. Read something old before you read something new, before you open your phone and let 100 strangers' opinions flood into your head. Read something that has survived thousands of years. A page of Marcus Aurelius. A paragraph of Epictetus. A line from Seneca's letters. Here's why the order matters more than people realize. If the first words you consume every morning come from an algorithm designed to grab your attention and hold it hostage, you are letting a machine set the tone of your entire day. But if the first words you consume come from a man who ruled Rome and still questioned his own ego every single morning, you start the day being shaped by wisdom instead of noise. This doesn't take long. 5 minutes. 1 paragraph. Let it sit in your mind while you get ready. You'll notice something strange happen. The small irritations of your day start to feel smaller, because you've already spent your first waking minutes with someone who faced far worse than a delayed train or a rude email, and came out calm on the other side. Habit 7. Speak to yourself like someone you respect. This is the one nobody talks about, and it's the one that quietly decides everything else. Most people wake up and immediately start an internal monologue that would be considered abuse if they said it to another person. Tired again. Behind again. Not good enough again. They don't even notice they're doing it. It's just background noise, running on repeat every single morning. The Stoics understood something modern psychology only caught up to decades later. The voice in your head is not neutral. It is either building you or breaking you, and there is no pause button. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself with discipline, yes, but also with respect. He corrected himself the way a good mentor corrects a student they believe in, not the way an enemy tears someone down. Try this tomorrow morning. The second a negative thought about yourself shows up, and it will, stop and rephrase it out loud like you're talking to someone you actually respect. Not fake positivity, just fairness. I'm behind becomes I have work to do, and I'm capable of doing it. That single shift, repeated every morning for weeks, rewires how you carry yourself through everything else in your day. People can feel the difference in you before you even say a word to them. Confidence isn't loud. It's just a person who stopped being cruel to themselves before sunrise. This habit alone has ended arguments before they started. It has calmed rooms. It has turned people who used to shrink under pressure into people who others quietly start to rely on. Not because their circumstances changed, because the voice running the show in their own head finally became an ally instead of an enemy. 7 habits in, and here's what should be sinking in right now. None of this is about willpower in the way you've been taught to think about it. It's not about gritting your teeth and forcing yourself through misery. It's about building a morning so structured, so intentional, that by the time the world throws its first problem at you, you've already won 3 or 4 battles before most people have even checked their phone. There are 3 habits left. And the final one is the one that ties every single practice in this video together. The one the Stoics considered the actual foundation of a disciplined mind. Without it, everything else eventually falls apart. With it, the other 9 become unbreakable. 3 habits left. And if you've made it this far, you already know this isn't going to be another list you forget by lunchtime. This is the part where it all locks into place. Habit 8. Face the one thing you've been avoiding every morning. Carries a small, quiet moment where your mind flashes to that one task. The phone call you don't want to make. The conversation you've been putting off. The decision you keep pushing to tomorrow. Most people feel that flash and immediately bury it under coffee, scrolling, and a dozen smaller tasks that feel productive but change nothing. The Stoics called this kind of avoidance a slow poison. Not because the task itself is dangerous, but because every day you dodge it, you're training your mind that discomfort is something to run from, and a mind that runs from small discomforts will collapse the moment a real crisis shows up. So here's the habit. Before you touch anything else that feels easy, name the one thing you've been avoiding and take a single step toward it. You don't have to finish it. Send the first line of that email. Make the call and just say hello. Open the document you've been dreading. Epictetus taught that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And the only way to prove that to yourself is to walk directly at the thing you fear before your excuses wake up alongside you. People who build this habit stop living with that low hum of dread in the back of their mind, because they've trained themselves to meet problems early, on their own terms, instead of getting ambushed by them later. Habit 9. Set one standard, not 10 goals. Here's a mistake almost everyone makes with morning routines. They wake up and set 5, 6, 10 goals for the day, and by 9 in the morning, they already feel like they're failing. That's not discipline. That's a setup for disappointment. The Stoics didn't think in outcomes they couldn't control. They thought in standards. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up promising himself he'd be universally respected or that his empire would run flawlessly that day. He couldn't control that. What he could control was the kind of man he'd be while doing his duty, whether things went well or fell apart around him. So instead of a long list of goals, pick one standard for the day. Something like, today I will not raise my voice, no matter what happens. Or, today I will finish what I start before checking my phone. One standard. Simple enough to remember at 2 p.m. when you're tired and irritated and everything is going wrong. This works because a standard isn't about the outcome of your day. It's about who you are inside that outcome. You can lose a deal, miss a workout, get stuck in traffic for 2 hours, and still walk away from the day having kept your standard. That's a win the world can't take from you, because it was never dependent on the world in the first place. Habit 10. End the morning before you check the world. This is the habit that holds everything else together. And it's the simplest one to explain, and the hardest one to actually follow. Before you open your phone, before the emails, the notifications, the headlines, the messages from people who haven't even said good morning to you yet, take one final minute in silence. No task, no planning, just stillness. This isn't wasted time. This is you sealing everything you just built. The early rise, the mental preparation, the movement, the reading, the self-respect, the courage to face what you've avoided, the single clear standard, before you hand your attention over to a world that will try to take it from you the second you let it in. Seneca warned about this centuries before phones existed. He said that most people don't lose their lives in one dramatic moment. They lose it in pieces, a little at a time, given away to distractions they never chose on purpose. Your morning is the one part of the day that's completely yours before anyone else gets a claim on it. Protect that minute like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. 10 habits. Not a checklist to rush through and forget by Thursday. A structure. A way of meeting each day already standing on solid ground, instead of scrambling to catch up with it. The Stoics didn't have alarms that snoozed themselves or apps that tracked their habits for them. They had discipline they built with their own hands, morning after morning, for years, until it became who they were, rather than something they had to force. That's the real difference between someone who reads about Stoicism and someone who lives it. It's not the 10 habits themselves, it's the decision to actually do them tomorrow morning, when nobody is watching, when it would be so easy to hit snooze and let the day run you instead of the other way around. If this gave you something to actually use, that's exactly why this channel exists. Hit like if you're serious about building a disciplined mind, share it with someone who needs to hear this today, and subscribe to Stoic Origin so you don't miss what we're building next. We'll see you in the next one.